All right, it is Lambo's Water Sports featuring the Big Brother. This will be the final episode. We covered all sports, college, NFL. It's been a long, so-called evening, but it's great to enjoy the special moment on his birthday, which is great. Glad to have him around. I appreciate him. He's done a lot for the last month of this channel, so the appreciation has to be there. Not because it's his birthday. I'll do it on any given day, but his birthday is special. Week 3 of NFL blew my parlay. Not only blew my parlay, but it created some upsets for both of our picks. The Colts pulled off an upset against the Ravens. The Texans destroyed the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, wasn't even close. And then the Saints blow a 17-point lead against the Green Bay Packers. Derek Carr does have a sprained AC joint. Dennis Allen, the head coach, didn't rule him out against the Bucks next Sunday, so he's not ruled out. But I wouldn't play through a sprained AC joint. But Derek Carr is that guy. But the first guy I have to talk about is the Colts and Ravens. MattPatt did say, off camera and on camera, that Gardner Minshew does deserve a job in the NFL, and Gardner Minshew played great against a Ravens defense. I was very shocked that the Ravens struggled on offense. They struggled at the beginning of the game, but the Colts were able to pull it off because the field goal kicker kicked, 5 field goals and had the game winner. Gardner Minshew didn't turn the ball over, so go ahead with that. Go ahead with that game prediction.
Right. Yeah. Well, both of us got this game wrong. I think you've mentioned that already, but we both picked the Ravens in this one. And it wasn't out of disrespect for Gardner Minshew. Like you just referred to it. I've mentioned it multiple times this year, either on camera or off camera, that I believe Gardner Minshew should be a starter in the NFL, and he proved that he can win games. He proved that he can win games with the help of Zach Moss looking like it's damn 2018, 2019. I don't know where this came from. He got signed out of free agency. They rushed with him 30 times for 122 yards, like 4.1 yards a carry. Imagine if this team has Jonathan Taylor. Like they were a disappointment last year. Obviously, the QB situation was crazy. And mid-season coaching change, Jeff Saturday experiment, none of that works. They were a dumpster fire last year, but they still had good pieces. If this team had Jonathan Taylor, I think they would definitely be in contention to winning their division. Now, I'm not going to say that they would make any noise in the playoffs or anything, but with the strength of that division, I think they could definitely be a contender if they had Jonathan Taylor on this team. And obviously Anthony Richardson. But Gardner Minshew played great, like you said. He didn't turn the ball over. The offensive line allowed 5 sacks and that's on both him and the offensive line. He's got to get the ball out a little bit quicker sometimes. And you find that in almost every quarterback. But 5 sacks, they're lucky that the game got to overtime, I think, because that's not a winning formula to put your quarterback under that much pressure. Pittman finally showed up. I think Pittman's been kind of pedestrian in the first 2 weeks, and then this week he showed up, 9 receptions for 77 yards. Josh Downs looks like a serious slot threat. He's undersized, obviously, but through 3 weeks now, I think he had 3 catches week 1, 5 or 6 last week, and he had 8 yesterday. So he's coming along great. Alec Pierce is kind of not living up to the potential I thought he would. But I think as a whole, the Colts just played above expectations. The defense did what they needed to do. They didn't allow Lamar to, throw a touchdown. They did allow him, obviously, to put 100 yards on the ground on him and, run for 2. But, they only allowed 19 points. So credit to the Colts. It was very disappointing to me for the Ravens. I thought that they were just a better team, but we were proven wrong. Zay Flowers can get open everywhere, though. He can get open whenever he wants. 10 targets again this week. Like he's got to be up there in target share for like the entire league through 3 weeks because he's getting a ridiculous amount. But yeah, it was disappointing. It was just disappointing for the Ravens.
Next game, the Texans and the Jaguars. Texans won by 20 points. CJ Stroud looks great. The Jaguars been flat, especially that loss against the Chiefs. They only lost 17-9. I thought they had a great defensive game plan last week, but then all of a sudden they fold. We were wrong about this as well, I guess. What happened in this game right here? I mean, 37-17. I mean, is Trevor Lawrence losing confidence? Is the old line bad, or is the Texans, getting into that new culture now?
Well, I mean, CJ looked great. Obviously, we're only 3 games in, but this was definitely his best game so far. 66% passing, 280, 2 touchdowns, no picks, didn't get sacked once. QBR at 83, passer rating at 118. Like, this was a great game for CJ Stroud. The running back situation is weird. Now, obviously, it didn't really matter in this game, but I thought Dameon Pierce was much better than he's shown this year so far. And Devin Singletary's doing his job as like running back 1B. He's not exactly running back 2 so far with what we've seen from Dameon Pierce. But, I mean, he's doing his job just as well as he did in Buffalo. Excuse me. And obviously it's helping. Tank Dell is legit. This is 2 weeks in a row now of big weeks. Nico Collins only had 2 catches, but he made a very timely catch earlier in the game when it was still relatively close. And, it just it was a 30-yard catch, and it just got me excited. And then after that, the momentum was completely with the Texans. John Mechie finally got, some targets. That's the player that was, he had leukemia last year, sat out his entire rookie year. This is his first season. And it's cool to see him actually on the field getting targets and stuff. But, I mean, besides that, the Texans just whopped them without even getting – I mean, they didn't get a sack either. They had 1 tackle for loss. Like, the offense of Jacksonville just couldn't keep up with the offense of the Texans, and that's not what we're used to saying for the past couple of years. And, the Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm aware, just got good again. But the Texans have been ass since Deshaun's been out. And even before, they were losing games they shouldn't be losing with Deshaun. That's the whole moment with JJ and him walking out of the field like, sorry, we wasted this year for you, or what, blah, 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 whatever it was. So it's cool to see the tides turning. The division is still, I think, kind of not great. The AFC South and the NFC South, but sticking to the AFC South, they don't look very good as a whole right now. Jacksonville, like you said, has fell flat 2 weeks in a row. Calvin really didn't do anything. When Jamal Agnew is tied for the second most catches on your team, your offense is not working right. Because he's a great special teams player. He can return punts and kicks very well. But when you've got Evan Ingram at tight end, who led the team with 7 receptions, so good for him. But you got Christian Kirk, Zay Jones is out. I understand that. Calvin Ridley, Travis Etienne is a very dynamic, can catch the ball out of the backfield type guy. And damn, Jamal Agnew has tied for the second most catches on the team. It's just, I don't know what's going on. I trust that they'll figure it out. They've got the talent. They've got the coaching. Yeah, weird game. Happy for the Texans, but not happy that we both got that pick wrong.
All right, this is the third pick we both got wrong. The Saints blew a 17-point lead against the Packers. Derek Carr was out. The Saints completely dominated for 3 quarters. But, hey, in Green Bay, it looked like Jordan Love pulled an Aaron Rodgers. He came back. It was 18-17. Derek Carr did hurt his shoulder. Jameis Winston was in the game. Jameis Winston couldn't score. I mean, what in the world happened? Derek Carr does have a sprained AC joint or sprain. He is not ruled out yet against the Buccaneers on Sunday. The Bucs do play tonight against the Eagles. So, what are your thoughts on this game? And what are your thoughts on this game? I mean, are you shocked that this happened too? We both got 3 picks wrong.
So obviously Jordan Love came back, played a great fourth quarter. but he still threw the ball 50%. And that's what I was talking about in week 2, and I mentioned it in week 1. Like, they're 2-1. They have been in position to win every game. Like, even the Falcons game, they probably should have won that game, but they didn't. And he is throwing the ball around 50%. And that's just like, as well as he's been playing, like statistically outside of that, I don't think you can get an offense going at 50%. And it's not even like, and I don't think you definitely cannot. And you go off the fact that they're also still missing Aaron Jones. That's a huge miss for them because, I said it last week and I'm saying it again. I like A.J. Dillon. He's not a running back 1. He's just not. He's good in the short down situations, but he can't carry an entire load. Their leading rusher was Jordan Love with 39 yards on the ground. So I don't want to say they got lucky because 18 points to none in the fourth quarter is huge. But, like Derek Carr was throwing great. And then Jameis Winston came in and just couldn't finish drives, which not saying the Saints have been able to this year. They've been a low scoring team this year so far anyways. But, I mean, you needed Derek Carr in there to finish that game out. It's unfortunate the defense allowed all that to happen because they had been shut out all game. So, I don't know. I don't want to say it's luck, but I definitely this game doesn't make me any higher on the Packers or any higher on Jordan Love than I already was. It doesn't really move any needles for me. And, I don't think if the Saints would have won, I still don't think that, I think they'd probably be the worst 3-0 team in the league. So it didn't really change too much for me for the Saints either. I don't think Derek Carr is going to be out for more than 2-3 weeks. So I don't know. I mean, Jameis, we've seen him do well. We've seen him do awful. So it's really up to him to try to keep the ship floating until Derek comes back. But this game didn't really change my opinion on these teams at all.
Right. Well, you were right about this one. The Browns beat the Titans in an ugly fashion way, 27-3. I was wrong about this pick. I thought the Titans would create a good run game. They couldn't get nothing going. Derek Carr only gave me 2 fantasy points. I think he only had 11 carries for 20 yards. And DeAndre Hopkins didn't get that much. I have to make my adjustments on my fantasy next week because either I might be on the verge of being 1-2 or 2-1. What is wrong with the Titans? I mean, are we? You mentioned weeks ago that you weren't impressed with the pass defense, but should we be calling for Ryan Tannehill's job?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. The issue is they definitely don't, as of what we know, they don't trust Malik. And I don't think Will was ever ready before before the season, during the draft. His college stats, all that, just prove that he's not really ready to be an NFL passer yet. So I don't know who you go to. But man, 20 yards on the ground for Derrick Henry. 20. 1.8 yards a carry for King Henry. What are we doing? DeAndre Hopkins, he got 3/4 of his yards in 1 catch. He only had 3 catches the whole game. I don't know. I mean, they're thin at every position. The offensive line doesn't look as good as it has in the past. Obviously, Ryan Tannehill is on a downslope. And they don't have a deep wide receiver room at all. They've got D-Hop, who's basically still on one leg right now with that ankle. Treylon Burks had 1 big catch last week, and besides that, he hasn't done shit for basically his entire career up to this point, which is not completely on him. I'm not completely blaming him. It's unfortunate to have Ryan Tannehill throwing you the ball every week, and being on a very run-centric team. Regardless of that, it just looks ugly. It looks like a very, very down year. And I don't know their pick situation. I don't think they make, too many trades giving away stuff. Like I know that I don't remember exactly what they got for AJ, but they need to start really nailing these draft picks because they are thin at every position and it's just looking scary out here for them, dude. It is looking scary.
Yes, it is looking very scary. The Browns impressed me, I guess, throwing a deep ball. Deshaun Watson looked like MVP Deshaun Watson from Texans. I mean, he played a good game, but couldn't do nothing against the Steelers. But hey, the NFL's for the unknown. They won without Nick Chubb in a great fashion way. But I mean, the next game that I'm shocked about that you were right about, Buffalo whooped up on the Commanders, 37-3. Um, I might have been a little bit too highly of the Commanders. I thought they'll pull the upset. But Sam Howell threw 4 interceptions. Uh, what's going on here? I guess Josh Allen played what? No, he had 1 interception. I thought he played turnover. He had 1 pick. But Josh Allen did play turnover-free football for at least 3 quarters. Then he had a pick. What's I know the Commanders are 2-1, but that's a pretty bad loss right there. That's just horrible.
Yeah, I mean, and they fought back and put up 35 on the Denver Broncos, but you got a different thing coming at you when it's the Buffalo Bills. Josh didn't play his best game at all, but he still added, a rushing touchdown to go with his lone, one passing touchdown. I think the story of the season for the Bills so far is James Cook. He's actually good. And that's just like something that, I mean, we've talked about it before, but the Bills haven't had a consistent run game that they can like lean on in forever. And James Cook has come out here and played the first 3 games very well. We talked about last week, he got his first ever 100-yard rushing game. And this week he had 98 yards, 6.5 yards a carry. Josh added 46 yards on the ground, 15 yards a carry. Latavius Murray had 15 yards on the ground, and Damian Harris added another 15 on the ground. So, spreading out the touches a little bit to some of these other guys, they can get their 3 yards a carry. That's fine. Josh gets his 15 a carry. That's crazy. And then James Cook just comes in 15 carries for 98 yards. So I think personally, that's the biggest story of the season when it comes to the Bills for me. Josh is going to have his turnovers, but he's electric enough to where he can kind of overcome it. In this game, it wasn't an issue at all. The defense did everything they had to do. They didn't really let Washington get comfortable at all. Stephon Diggs had 111 yards on 8 receptions. And that's all they really had to do on offense was Stephon Diggs and James Cook, because no other receiver had over 2 receptions. They didn't have to do anything else because the Commanders sucked. And this is obviously I have a bias against them, but still, like they looked awful. First really like weak game that we've seen from Sam Howell in now 4 career starts. This is the first like bad game we've seen. Brian Robinson, it's unfortunate when you get down this big because then you go away from running the ball. Like you have to try and score quickly. So Brian Robinson was having a good game, 10 carries for 70 yards, but he only got the ball 10 times. He couldn't open anything up. And the pass game obviously looked mediocre at best, probably worse than mediocre. 4 picks is 4 picks. Not too much to say on this one.
Yeah, well, you were right about this one. I was wrong again. I think my NFL standings are going down with these picks. The Lions pulled a win against the Falcons. You were not sold on Desmond Ridder. Jared Goff and Ben Johnson came up with a great trick play that was wide open for a touchdown. It was 20-6 only. The Lions are back after a hard loss last week against Seattle in overtime. Do you think the Lions have a chance to win the NFC North?
Yeah, I think.
Especially you got the Vikings at 0-3 now.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say it now, I guess. I think they should easily be the favorite to win it. I mean, the Packers, like we just talked about, they've won 2 games where I don't think they really should have won. Jordan's playing okay for it being his like first full season, but he's throwing the ball like just over 50%. So I don't think, like he made up in the game last week, he made up a lot of his yards in garbage time. Like he was 50% going into the fourth quarter. They had already won the game, garbage time, or that was week 1, I should say. But still, so like that's what I think has maintained his throwing percentage as higher than what it's actually happening on the field. And this game is another game where he's at 50%. Last week he was like in the 50s. Week 1 he was barely in the 60s. So he's not very accurate right now. He's not making the best decisions. So that's why I put Detroit over the Packers. The Bears, still the Bears. They suck. And then the Vikings, it seems like their luck is turning from last year when they were 11-0 in one-possession games last year. And now they can't seem to finish those games that they were able to finish, and they're obviously starting 0-3. So, yeah, I definitely think the Lions are the favorite to come out of the North. And really until they give me a reason not to. I mean, losing to the Chiefs, not beating the Chiefs is a very, a step that should be turning everyone's heads as to, who the real competitors are in the NFC. And I definitely think that you have to look out for the Lions.
Next game, my New England Patriots pull off the Jets. I'm smiling, but I'm not very impressed in this game. Great defense, excellent. The offense is still somewhat consistent and bad, but we played turnover-free football. Very proud. We ran the ball. Ezekiel Elliott had more yards than Stevenson, by the way, so they both combined for at least 130 yards rushing. The run game could improve. The passing game, I think it was like we had one touchdown pass to a tight end. He's supposed to be a blocking tight end. I can't remember his name right now, but it was 15-10. We won based off of safety. As much as I'm confident about the Cowboys game, we almost let this game slip away. Again, just by the Jets, they got a very good drive going in the fourth quarter. They scored a touchdown. That's really the only touchdown they gave up, was like 5 minutes left the fourth quarter. I don't like the third down calls going to Juju Smith-Schuster. We need to go more to Kendrick Bourne, Pop Douglas, Hunter Henry, who is literally, our leading receiver right now. Mike Krzyzewski, and our other tight end as well. We got at least 4 touchdowns to tight ends, which was more than it was last year, because last year only had 2 touchdowns to tight ends. So we got our tight ends straight for right now. But I'm still very concerned offensively. But our defense is very excellent. That's why I'm confident going into the Cowboys game. But if our offense can't score no more than 13 points, I might lose $150. So what are your thoughts on this game? And why is Robert Saleh still so high on Zach Wilson? Like he's their only option. There was rumors that Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan, I think, if I'm correct, called the Jets to see if they can, get on the team, practice, work out for them or something. But the Jets are ignorant and stupid, and they want to stick with Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson showed you why he sucks, and there was a lot of argument on the sidelines yesterday, which I was very happy because, the Jets are the Jets.
Yeah, so, Zach threw 50% in this game. He didn't throw a pick, but he had 160 yards. Mac also threw 50% for 200 yards and a touchdown. So very safe to say, and you can tell this by the score, but this game wasn't the most exciting to watch at all. I was very happy to see Zeke playing as well as he did. I will always have love for Zeke. It was just an ugly game, and I don't really know what to take away from it because, I know that the Patriots defense is legit, but it's the same, concerns that I had a little bit with the Cowboys and I think everyone was vocal about these concerns, but it's Zach Wilson. How do you know that your defense is actually playing super well or if you're just playing against Zach Wilson? And I think the determining factor is how do you deal with the 2 star running backs they have, and both Dallas and the Patriots have handled that very well. I think both Shoot, let me look. Yeah, both Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook both ran for 18 yards. So like 36 combined yards between the two of them. So I think the defense played great. The offense for the Patriots, like you said, it needs some work. I think it needs it this week in practice because I don't know if you throw the ball 50% against us. I don't know if it's going to be.
I'll be giving you that money if that ever happens. I might have to
Yeah.
give it to you 5 minutes in the fourth quarter because I'm very, very concerned right now.
Yeah, I mean, you needed
Offensively,
to get.
I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's where I am with the Patriots as well. The defense is obviously as good as we thought they were going to be, but Pharaoh Brown can't be your leading receiver for the game.
Yeah, no,
Like
he can't.
it just can't. He only had 2 catches, but he had the deep one. He had 71 yards off 2 catches. So I don't know, man. It was good to get out of it with a win, but only putting up 13 points of offense was a little concerning.
Yeah, well, they got no choice because Thursday we'll preview the game of the week. And then tomorrow you are allowed to wear your cowboy stuff. So you're more welcome. I wasn't telling you what to do. I was advising you not to do it. You can wear whatever you want to wear. So I advise you to wear your cowboy stuff because we got to keep this tradition. It's the game of the week. The next game we got to talk about is the Chargers versus the Vikings. You were right about this. I thought the Vikings were able to pull it off. Kirk Cousins throws a pick in the end zone. The Chargers defense did what they were supposed to do at the end. But I'm still not sold on Brandon Staley. Kevin O'Connell's job is definitely not on the line. I mean, his first year as a head coach, they went to the playoffs. They're 0-3. The defense is still work. The offense is struggling. Justin Jefferson's getting numbers. What is the problem with the Vikings? And is Brandon Staley going to get fired within the next 3 weeks, despite the win? Because I think he's going for it too aggressively on fourth down. He's too much of an analytic guy. I think he's all into analytics, and he went for it. I think fourth down is like own territory, and they almost lost the game.
Yeah, so for both of your points here, one with Staley, I could see him losing his job by the end. I don't know if it's in the next 3 weeks, but I mean, if you go, I think if you go 500 with this team, you should probably lose your job after what we've seen the past few years, what he's been doing with the amount of talent that's on this team and pretty much wasting it. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by if like week 15, and they're like 7-7 or 6-8 or something like that going into week 15. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he lost his job at all. He's messing it up. He's literally screwing up the whole plan. The Chargers, they're a cheap organization that's been like their thing. Even when they were in San Diego, they were run by a couple people or a group of people that are very stingy with their money. So I don't think that it's their plan to, well, obviously it's no one's plan, but I don't think that a priority for them is having to pay a coach who's no longer coaching for you. I think the stat was like there's like $80 million being paid this year to coaches that aren't actually coaching, like to fired coaches. So it's a huge number that it's getting fired to guys that, I mean, paid to guys who lost their job and got fired. So I could see it happening. On the Vikings, the defense is just ass. It was ass last year, but the offense was able to overcome it. And I think the football gods at this point are saying, oh, you got a little too comfortable there, and your defense got worse somehow. So, yeah, you're not going to be winning these games anymore. Like, they were in positions to win games last year that they shouldn't have been winning, but they were coming back, making great miraculous comebacks and everything like that, with JJ and Kirk leading the way. I don't think it's Kirk's fault. Like, he's been balling this year, but untimely turnovers, it's kind of like him and Derek Carr are similar in that way. Like, that Kirk obviously has better stats than Derek Carr, but like you think of them as good quarterbacks until shit gets hectic. and then you don't know where the ball's going. And it's a shame that that's happening with JJ as a number one receiver, and Jordan Addison looks great so far. So I don't know. I'm definitely with you in that O'Connell's not in jeopardy this year at all. But they're going to have to make some adjustments on the defensive side of the ball if they want this team to make the playoffs, because this is a terrible start.
Yes, next game, Carolina loses to Seattle. I think we both picked the Seahawks. Like I said, Bryce Young ended up not playing. It was last minute. Andy Dalton, I think he did okay for what he was expected. But the Seahawks had too much firepower on the offensive end. The game got away from them in the fourth quarter. So it's Seattle, that team, not to match up with the 49ers. I wouldn't say they'll match up, but can they compete in the division with the Rams as well? Because Seattle was that sleeper team last year. Can they sneak in possibly the top of the division, or at least second? And for Carolina, you're 0-3. Is your season over as far as playoff berth?
Yes, I think so. Because I think with the way the South is going right now, in the NFC, the Bucs are going to be fighting with the Falcons. Well, and honestly, the Saints as well. I think all three of those teams, that is judging that on if Derek Carr comes back to a Saints team that's still competitive. Like they're adding Kamara next week, so that's huge. So I really think that the three teams in that division, besides the Panthers, are going to be fighting for the number one spot there, and then obviously a wild card spot right below whoever wins the division. But it's going to be tough because I think that there's going to be two wild card teams from the NFC East. The NFC West could very well have two wild card teams with the Seahawks and the Rams. I could see both of them making the playoffs. You look at the North, the Packers might slip in. The Vikings, if they get it together, could slip in. But I think I don't know if there's enough wild card spots is my thing. And I don't know if it is completely obviously this is a team that traded up to the number one pick. They weren't expecting a great season or anything right now, right away. But playoff wise, I just don't think there's enough wild card spots for them to squeeze in. The Seahawks, to your other point, yes, they're going to compete with the Rams for the 2 seed in the division. But I do think, just like the NFC East, the NFC West is going to have 3 teams in the playoffs.
All right, a game that I did not watch. I had a free trial Sunday ticket. It's too expensive. All right, it's $112 a month that I will not pay. All right, so I got the free trial. It expires October 1st. But the Cowboys and Patriots game will be primetime TV, so that shouldn't be on Sunday ticket. That should be on primetime, I think, on Fox. So that should be streamingly televised. But I tried to get into this Bears and Chiefs game, and it was nowhere close. So I ended up switching to the Carolina Seahawks game, and then I paid attention to the Cowboys and Cardinals game, which we'll talk about last. The Bears are the worst team in the NFL. Okay, yep. They were down 34-0. My prediction score was almost correct. I said 38-10. They won 41-10. They scored 34 points in the first half. Taylor Swift up in the stands, Travis Kelce. I don't know how the hell he pulled her, but I mean, hey. He's that guy. He pulled her. All right. What's wrong with the Bears staff? I have a feeling that Matt Eberflus will get fired at some point in time, maybe mid-season. So I think he'll get fired by mid-season. The Chiefs look like the old-fashioned Chiefs that scored a lot of points. There was no weaknesses. I feel like they ran the ball consistently. They dominated, destroyed them. The defense is very impressive for the first 3 games of the season. How do you feel about this? And I think Justin Fields' career in Chicago is over sooner than later. I think we're starting to call him a bust.
They suck. They're just bad at football. Yeah, look, Justin Fields, we knew that he can't just be in the pocket. He's got to be able to get out, and it's just proving itself more and more since the first week. Week 1 against the Packers, 65% throwing the ball, and it's like, oh, improvement. 65%, 215 yards, and there's the one pick in there, but his QB rating was 78, which is not. It's pretty average, and so it's improvement from where you would see him last year, especially the year before. And then, damn, 55% last week and 50% this week. No, I get it. It's the Chiefs. They just won the Super Bowl, but he didn't even throw for 100 yards in the game. It's bad. And they earned the number 1 pick last year, so it's not like a huge surprise. But he had 1,100 yards on the ground last year, and he's only I want to look at the specifics before I get to I dig too deep into them. Yeah. So week 1, he ran the ball 9 times for 60 yards. That's what you want him to be like. That's what you want him to be doing. Last week, he only ran the ball 4 times. And this week, he ran the ball 11 times on 47 yards. The issue is I want more designed runs for him and less him running for his life away from a bad offensive line. And they're still not really using Khalil Herbert. And I get it. They're going down and they're losing in games. So you have to be more pass centric once you're losing. That I understand it. You got to save time. But if you're not giving your talented young running back touches, you're just wasting him. And you're wasting a backfield of Justin Fields, a 1,000-yard rusher at the quarterback position who showed signs of improvement last year passing the ball. And starting this year in the first game, you thought he looked improved as a passer. And it's just putting him in bad spots. I'm not going to completely blame the coaching. I'll let him do that. But at some point, you got to just he's turning into a bust, and it's not completely his fault. They're not putting him in great positions. I don't think they're using DJ Moore right. DJ Moore doesn't think he's being used right. He said that on the field. He was caught in a mic'd up talking to someone on the other team. They were like, hey, man, you're not getting used right out here. And he said, tell me about it. He knows. So I don't know. It's more on the coaches than Justin, I think, because you got to get Khalil Herbert the ball more. You got to design runs for Justin Fields, or it's just not going to work. He's not a straight-up pocket quarterback, and you can't force him to be that, or you're going to get exposed, and that's what's been happening.
All right, Sunday night game. You were wrong about this one. But I mean, it's okay. I'm not shaming or nothing. But I was not confident in Jimmy G. Porn star Jimmy. I was not confident in him. I was confident in the Steelers defense, even though I hate the Steelers and I know Patriots Steelers are rivalries. But I was very confident in that defense. Jimmy G threw 3 picks. Devontae Adams went off. They could not really run the ball consistently because Josh Jacobs didn't give me any points. If you had Devontae Adams in your fantasy, congratulations. He gave you numbers, crazy numbers. I didn't like Josh McDaniels' decision by kicking a field goal. He never got the ball back, or he did, and then they muffed the punt just to burn time. And then Jimmy G threw a floater up in the air interception, which was nowhere close. So the Raiders have a lot of work. Matt Canada, I'm not sold on him, but the Steelers ran the ball a little bit. They ran a little bit better. They're still not sold on Matt Canada, by the way, but I think he called a good enough game for them to win. Kenny Pickett threw a deep ball. Excellent. He torched that Raiders defense. It's really not that good. I was right. I didn't trust Kenny Pickett. You're right. Jimmy G over Kenny Pickett. You're definitely correct. But the turnovers for Jimmy G, dude. I'm trusting that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. What are your thoughts on this game? And by the way, Jimmy G did hit concussion protocol today.
Yeah. Hopefully he's fine and he gets better soon. I've been talking shit on Kenny Pickett literally all year, but obviously it's been 3 games. But even before the season even started, I was, talking on him, and he played well. He came out and he played a good game. 2 touchdowns, 235. Like you said, the deep ball was beautiful. So, like, that's great and all. Najee, yeah, thank you. I'm with you. In the comments, I'm with you. Kenny sucks. And I've been saying it literally for 5 weeks now. Like, it was like 2 weeks before the NFL season even started. I said, my prediction here is everyone's so high on the Steelers for some reason. They're not going to be that good. And here they are, 2-1 off of, a start that could have gone another, like if Chubb is still in that game last week, who knows? Las Vegas, if it's just ifs, and they're on the right side of the ifs right now. Najee's on a downslope. I don't know if he's going to be a number 1 back at this point next year. He got a better percentage of the touches against Warren, but going into the game, it was like 60-40, and it was still around, it was like 75-25 this time. So, like, they're right direction of getting Najee back as the main number 1. But yeah, Kenny's not good. George Pickens really makes him seem better, I think, sometimes. And this week it was Calvin Austin with the big catch getting open. But I don't think he's very good. I don't think this game really changes my opinion on how well they'll do this year. Now, obviously, I had them losing this game, and I had them losing against the Browns. I was wrong about both of those. That's fine. They're going to start to face a tougher line of opponents going forward, and I think we will see them come back down to earth. They've won tight games with just weird circumstances. Obviously, the Nick Chubb injury is like heartbreaking, especially for me as a dynasty fantasy owner of Nick Chubb. That broke my heart. And then, the Raiders, the defense won them the game because Devontae went off. Jacoby Myers looks legit again. He looks like, what we thought he could turn into a few years ago. But Jimmy, you can't give the ball away 3 times. And I'm not mad at the Raiders defense for allowing 23 points. That's not like your offense with the weapons that you seem to have that obviously haven't done up to like what they're supposed to be doing, minus Devontae. Like they should be able to compete with a team when your defense is allowing 23 points. And they couldn't. And it fell on Jimmy G's shoulders this time. Josh Jacobs still doesn't look great or like back to his form at all. So it doesn't really change how I feel about the Steelers. I'm definitely lower on the Raiders than I was. I thought that they would at least take a step in the right direction this year, and they haven't. And I don't know if they will. But, yeah, I don't have too much more to say about this game. Kenny looked okay, but I still think he's ass.
Well, the last game, I had to wait because I had to pick this game last. Ladies and gentlemen, I understand this messed up my parlay because when the Dallas Cowboys exceed expectations, they fold and they fold. How in the world do y'all lose to those Arizona Cardinals who were supposed to be tanking this year, okay? You lost to a quarterback named Josh Dobbs. Hollywood Brown went off, and you couldn't stop the run. I understand y'all are missing some offensive linemen as well, but everybody's hurt. We don't want to hear that excuse either. I understand you're missing Trayvon Diggs. Rest in peace. I hope he gets better over the next year. But he won't go be a difference in that run game. I mean, my God. I mean, they just ran the ball. James Conner, another running back. Arizona Cardinals scored more touchdowns than, the Dallas Cowboys did. The Dallas Cowboys red zone touchdown percentage was not great. It was 60%. Dak Prescott threw an interception in triple coverage. I mean, what are you looking at? I mean, my God. But it's just a problem. But go ahead and rant on the Cowboys. I would just point out the stuff.
Yeah, I feel you. So obviously I'm pissed off. The game was infuriating to watch, dude. The interception wasn't the worst thing in the world to me. Obviously, the timing of it was very unfortunate. But I don't know. It just seemed like we weren't inspired to play like at all. It just seemed like we were lazy. I talked about it in the first week. That first drive with the Giants, Saquon marched. Okay, let me pause real quick. The Dallas red zone offense last year was the best in the NFL, so we can slow down a little bit there. I'll get back to this game in particular. So far this year, we haven't been able to finish drives, and field goals aren't going to win games. Speaking for Brandon Aubrey, he's the first kicker in Dallas Cowboys history that's made 10 of his first 10 kicks. So that's pretty good. It looks like we're back on the right track kicking wise. I don't know, man. Tony Pollard did what he's supposed to do. He got 122 yards. Our leading receiver was Michael Gallup, which that hasn't been said since like 2020. So I don't know. We looked bad. I watched the whole thing. It was depressing to see our offense just stall against. Now, this is the same Arizona team that was in one possession games 2 weeks in a row. Like, yes, they're tanking from an organizational standpoint, but you can't tell players on the field to lose. They go out there to win games each and every week, and they tried to do it the first 2 weeks, and they folded at the end. And in this game, they didn't fold at the end, and they held their halftime lead. Joshua Dobbs only had 4 damn incompletions the whole game. What the hell? How? They literally have Hollywood Brown in a bag of chips as their wide receiving core, and they torched us. James Conner had 100 yards on 14 carries. It was just an uninspired defensive performance, and obviously the offense fell short in stalling on drives and just having to kick field goals and shit. So yeah, I mean, I knew as I was watching it, I was like, damn, tomorrow is gonna suck because I got to answer for these boys out here playing like ass. Dak didn't throw for a bad percentage. The interception was tough, especially the timing of it. We got this. I'm going on a tangent here, but whatever. I'm going to. So
Go ahead.
That pass interference that got called back in the fourth quarter. Why'd they call it back? The dudes literally, you have, it's in the rules. You're supposed to make a play on the ball. You turn around to look at the ball. You can't just blindly do this in front of the dude's face. He dug his helmet into the dude's chest, like clearly not looking at the ball because his eyeballs are in the dude's rib cage. And they took the flag back. So that pissed me off a little bit, but we still should have been able to finish that drive, and we didn't. So let me talk about the interception real quick. Yes, when you just pause it and you look, you're like, okay, Dak, what are we looking at here? But I think if you put it in like half speed and you watched it as it was developing, he has made throws before where you put the right amount of arc on it and you can get it into the zone. The issue here, he didn't put any arc on the fucking ball, and he just threw it to where it was like all the dude had to do was jump a little bit, and he caught it over the middle. So obviously not his finest moment. That was obvious when he did that. The game was over. So there was no chance at all after that. But I think it was over a little bit before that with just how inefficient our offense looked. Couldn't get shit going. Can't stop the damn run. That's what I was worried about week 1. Saquon marched up the field. Our defense took over that game, and we didn't really have to rely on stopping the run too much more because they had to throw in that game to try and come back from at that point, like 30-0 deficit and everything like that ended up being 40. In a game where the other team is comfortable running and doesn't have to abandon it and get to the pass because they're in a deficit, we might be in trouble. Saquon marched up the field on us, and we got the block kick, and then the momentum went the other way. That didn't happen here. We let them march on us in the run game, and they continued to do it, and it was sad. And I could go for an hour on the bullshit of this, but I will not, because this show is not centered around my love for the Cowboys. and it's not centered around Lambo's hate for the Cowboys. But damn.
Well,
Damn.
wait. You made good points. I agree. You made good points. You're being realistic. Okay, you've always been realistic, but you made some good points. I thought the Cowboys would win. They did mess up my parlay. Now, before I joke around and make fun of Cowboy fans because they all of this hype, they going to the Super Bowl in my face. That y'all messed up my parlay. So I'm still kind of, mad as far as the money side of things. But there's no way. I felt like, and I said this last week, they underestimated their opponent preparing for the Patriots. You underestimated those Cardinals. Now you're on the road. It's hard to win in that type of stadium. I felt like they underestimated the Cardinals. They thought they were just going to beat them, and then they're going to beat us. Now, we hadn't been able to run the ball efficiently, but I'm very confident in Zeke's intel with the Cowboys that he can tell Bill.
New offense.
I'm very confident though. I'm very confident. He's still
he doesn't have anything to tell him. It's a brand new offense.
Yeah, you don't know that. You know him and Dak Prescott, they still boys.
Dude, get the hell out of here, bro.
They're still boys.
You think Dak is telling Zeke like, oh, dude,
I'm not saying it like that. You forgot Ezekiel Elliott was on the team last year, and ain't like he was released from the Cowboys.
What I'm saying is a brand new offense.
I mean, we can figure it out. That's fine. We got the best coach in America. We figure that out. Play action. Y'all gonna run it 60% of the time, throw it 40% of the time. I can figure out your damn offense. I ain't worried about that. I'll get into that on Thursday. My point when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys and some of you fans, y'all exceed the expectations. All right, the expectations are so high. You raise them up to the sky. A team that you're supposed to beat. And I try to be realistic to Cowboys. I'm the biggest Cowboys here in America, but I'm realistic. I think y'all supposed to win these games. Every time you're supposed to win these games, you damn end up losing them. That's what makes it real funny about this, okay? It just makes me so happy when Cowboy fans keep texting me talking about how about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? Every single time. And then when I sit there and I text you that score, and I said, what about them Cowboys? What happened to them Cowboys? You sit up there, and some of y'all don't even respond. You see how y'all don't keep that same energy when y'all lose? But every time you win, it's yada, yada, yada. We going to win the Super Bowl. We got the best quarterback in the NFL. Dak Prescott's a good quarterback, but you're not going to sit here and say he's the best quarterback in the NFL because I'm going to tell you something when it comes to these Cowboys. They will make the playoffs, but in order for them to get to the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl, it comes down to the quarterback. The defense is great. It's always going to come down to Dak Prescott, and understand that he can't carry everybody, but he's the main part of the Dallas Cowboys, and he only won 2 playoff games in 9 seasons, which is embarrassing. Jared Goff has more playoff wins than Dak Prescott, and he's on a different team. All right? There's a lot more. Blake Bortles, ladies and gentlemen. Blake Bortles has the same amount of playoff wins as Dak Prescott. He's not even in the NFL. All right. So what I have to say to all you Cowboy fans, I understand it's a new week. I understand you mad. I understand that anger, that passion. All right. I get it. Respectfully, jokingly, I hope y'all are depressed at least until tomorrow, because tomorrow is a new week, and tomorrow you have to focus on the 6-time defending Super Bowl champions in my New England Patriots. And y'all can sit here and think that we suck. And I get it. I said that we've been inconsistent. I've pointed out some flaws in our team. I'm not saying that we're 100% perfect because we hadn't been 100% perfect. But when it comes to those Dallas Cowboys, I understand Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp, they're not really highly confident about my Patriots. But I'm going to be the one to say this. The Cowboys have no chance of beating the Patriots on Sunday at 4:25, because here's what's going to happen. That Patriots defense, Mac Jones is going to show out. I'm telling you, that offensive line has some serious work for the Dallas Cowboys it needs to do, because you better be able to stop Dietrich Weiss, Gonchon, Matt Judon, and trust me, Christian Gonzalez. Don't throw the ball near Christian Gonzalez now. That's all I have to say. How about them Cowboys? It's the game of the week. Like I said, you are free to wear your Cowboy shirt tomorrow. But this week, a little bit too much hype, a little bit too much attention. Like I said, y'all in AT&T Stadium. All right, we're a very great road team. We just can't win at home. We can win games on the road. We can't win at home. So road game is fine for us, but I'm going to tell you something. Y'all have no chance of beating the 6-time defending Super Bowl champs and the New England Patriots.
You're not defending shit. You haven't won since Tom left. So let's not get into. Let's not get. You're not defending champions. You haven't won shit since Tom has been gone. So let's start there. We can, and I will all week, dude. I'm coming with it. I'm wearing all my Cowboys stuff all week. I had to, we played like shit yesterday. I'm not repping them today for that reason. But it's rivalry week now, baby, and that's right here. No 1777. I'm not saying it was only Tom Brady winning the rings. I'm just saying he said 6-time defending champions. They haven't won since Tom has been gone, and it's partly because they have a mediocre quarterback in the position right now. He is a game manager. That is fine. But game managing against an elite defense is a little bit something different when the offense has also been a top 2 offense for the past 2 years. You're saying we lose all these games we shouldn't lose. We won 12 games the past 2 years. Losing to the Niners in the playoffs, I understand we need to start winning playoff games. Trust me, my heart has been broken multiple times over this. All right? I get it. We need to start winning more playoff games. But let's just let's not forget that we retired Tom Brady. I get it. He was going to retire anyway, but it had to come against a loss to us. All right. So let's not get all crazy here saying that we don't know how to do shit in the playoffs. Unfortunate. Like 1 possession loss against the Niners last year. And the team has gotten better. So I get it. You're a hater. It's your job to hate on my boys. I understand. But dog, no chance? Are you kidding me?
No chance.
You're wild. You're wild. So let's run down the matchups here. All right. You think your O-line is better than our D-line?
With the injuries, no.
No, even when you're healthy, your O-line's not better than our D-line. Let's go to wide receivers and cornerbacks. Do we think those match up?
No.
No.
Tight end. We got better tight ends than y'all, so that counts as wide receiver, right? We got better tight ends than y'all.
Yeah, you got 1 tight end that's better.
No, we got 2 that are better than y'all. Hunter Henry.
No, you're not. You're going solely off this past game. That's like, dude.
No. I'm going off 3 games. You forgot about Mike Gesicki as well. He's a good tight end. What you mean? I said 2 tight ends.
He's getting lost in the system. He hasn't been
getting lost in the system. He ain't using them right.
That's exactly what that means. That's what that means.
Bill O'Brien is trying some things out. I don't know. I'm not in the Patriots system, but go ahead and.
That's all I'm saying. He's getting lost in the system. He hasn't been like a factor so far. So I'll give you the tight end position. But our cornerbacks or DBs as a whole, lining up to y'all's wide receivers, I think we got you there.
Okay.
I already said the O-line, D-line thing. Now you flip it. Our O-line, if we were completely healthy, I think would be on par with your D-line. We're missing 3 guys. Hopefully we get 2 of them back. But if we're still very injured, then yeah, I'll give you guys that D-line win over there. Running back room, I think Tony Pollard is better than Ramondre Stevenson and obviously Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh my God.
You think he's not better than Zeke?
Yeah, he's better than Zeke. He is. I'm just saying, like, you act like Ramondre Stevenson is like garbage or something.
No, I'm not. I've talked highly on him throughout this year and referring to last year's stuff. I think he's a good back. But I think Tony Pollard can do more out of the backfield. He's just more explosive all around. And that's not a shot at Ramondre. I'm just saying I think that the running back competition goes to the Cowboys as well. We have CeeDee Lamb, who can't be the only top guy. I understand that. But I just think matchup-wise, we are definitely a step above. So for you to be saying there's no chance, that's why I had to come back with a rebuttal, because I definitely think if you just look up matchup to matchup, I think you could easily say it on the other side as well, but I'm not going to because I just got humbled yesterday by the damn Cardinals. So I won't get in over my head here, but let's
You
pump the brakes a little bit
you
on the no chance thing.
you will be getting humbled on Sunday because you're facing a Bill Belichick defense that will take away mostly everything. It will make you go to your third receiver.
That's fine.
third-
CeeDee Lamb caught the game-winning touchdown against y'all last time we played.
Jalen Mills is not a good cornerback. That's why he moved him to safety. He's not a good cornerback. And I knew he couldn't even guard him when he was in Philly. I knew he couldn't guard him. So I knew the game was over. So I mean, like I said, I'm not worried. But by the way, Mac Jones played good that year against y'all in his rookie year. He played well, except for that pick six. So he played decent. So I mean, I'm not worried about it. It was a close game. Like I said it's gonna be close. But when it comes down to crunch time, the Patriots are just better at crunch time overall. I'm not talking about the past two games where they, didn't get the toe tap in or couldn't get an inch yard. I mean, they're 2 plays away from being 2-0, but I mean, that's not the point here. I think when it comes down to crunch time, the Patriots will execute crunch time. That's what's going to happen. And Mac Jones will play better. So Bailey Zappi don't give us a chance to beat y'all. I'm confident in Mac Jones giving a high value chance in beating those Dallas Cowboys. And they will remain humble because they will be 2-2 by the time it hits Sunday at 8:20 on October 1st. And you will remain humble. And then on Monday, you'll be coming on my show just like your face will be right now. Just sitting there, that nice green jacket. By the way, you probably should wear that nice golf polo you had. It looks real good on you. So I hope you wear that next Monday and you don't wear your cowboy stuff. So I hope it's well. All respect. You will always be my brother. But the Dallas Cowboys, like I said, they ain't got no chance of winning. But it's it for Lambo's Water Sports Fish and the Big Brother. We recap all NFL games, and we talked a little trash about the Cowboys and the Patriots. But more trash talk will be announced on Thursday. All right. Tomorrow we'll recap college games. All right. So hope y'all have a great night and great Monday night because, like I said, we are on schedule because it's his birthday. He needs to go drink some more. And also, the Bucks and the Eagles game will be played in less than an hour. So, Totem Pole Nation, Sideline Sports Network, we will catch you later. Like I said,